he'll have a lot of different things that he's able to do. But if I had to guess, just the amount of time I've been able to be around him and talk to him, I would assume that he'll wait for a head coaching position to open up if he's going to take anything in the near future.
And Cole, looking back, I mean, it's water under the bridge now, but I'm just curious your take. What happened to him in Florida? I mean, how'd that happen?
I might not be the right one to ask about this, because your tweet from however many years ago is the one that has been recirculating.
Yeah.
When I was on with you and you asked how I thought he would fare at Florida, and I said I thought he'd win a national championship.
Well, and for the record, I agree with you.
Admitted, I think that would make two of us that have admitted we were wrong on that, because everybody else apparently now knew that it was going to crash and burn. So I just felt like knowing the geography, knowing the landscape, the athletes he was going to have access to, I just found it really hard to imagine that it wasn't going to go well. And even if it didn't go as well as you and I maybe thought it would, I didn't think it was going to be bad or poor by any stretch of the imagination. So I do think the recruiting part was an issue. I think that the effort put forth in that, I think that the understanding that it's something that you really do have to live and breathe almost every day. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not great at it or as good at it as some other guys, you got to be out there putting the effort in every single day. And I think he had a lot of other interests. He had a lot of other things that he liked to do, a lot of other people he liked to spend time with, which none of us are going to be upset with him for, playing golf with his son or hanging out with his wife or, doing things with his family. But it's when you do those things, unfortunately, some of the other guys find a way to get ahead of you.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of the issues there are not necessarily Dan Mullen's. I mean, we're in the middle of a cycle now, Matt, where this has happened multiple times in a row. You go back and look at the coaches before him and what a lot of them have been able to do, including him. I mean, he was in the SEC championship game. Mac was in the SEC championship game twice.
Yeah.
Muschamp was in the Sugar Bowl. So whether you want to call it the ability to sustain or unreal expectations or just how difficult it is to consistently be great there, something is holding these guys up being able to accomplish those things. Now Billy Napier gets a shot at it. I do think that there are some strengths of his that maybe could be better utilized to solve some of the problems down there. I think there is a real cultural problem around Florida football, and that's not necessarily, the people who are inside the building, but I just think that there have been some guys that have felt like they can do whatever they want, however they want for such a long time, that it's going to be very difficult to correct. You've got to find a way to correct it. And yes, you have access to elite talent, but you better make sure you're continuing to get it year after year after year, because now it's been proven that just one down year might not be enough. And you might be out, and that might be your last shot at it.
That's right. Cole Cubelic on your radio right now. Y'all follow him on Twitter if you don't already, at Cole Cubelic. He's with ESPN and the SEC Network. Brian Kelly from Notre Dame to LSU. There's something about that to me looks like it can be a fit. A guy who's an excellent organizer, who's going to have access to maybe even a different level of talent than he had at Notre Dame. What do you think? Is it a fit?
I don't know if it's so much of a fit right now as it is that I believe it can work. Because some of those things that we were talking about with Florida, with the culture around the program, inside the building, inside the facility, the people that are sort of attached to the program, I do think that there are some of those concerns and issues at LSU as well. And you're going to need someone that can at least come in with some discipline and can hold guys accountable. I think there's a lot of guys right now at LSU that they like everything. And listen, there's a part of this almost everywhere in college football right now, Matt, but I think there are more guys at LSU that are a little bit more interested in saying they play football at LSU than actually putting the uniform on and doing everything they can to win games at LSU. And that's probably a little bit more of a college football problem, but I think that there are pieces of it at LSU because they saw so much success so fast a couple of years ago that the understanding of what it's going to take year to year to year is just not there. And I think somebody like Brian Kelly can offset a few of those concerns and a few of those things. The offensive background, The understanding of how to develop, I think, can be very valuable there because the access to talent is as good there as it is anywhere else. I mean, you really, in my opinion, can take the old Schnellenberger Miami approach, draw your 100-mile circle around campus. That could be 70% of your roster every year, and you can win games. So there's just not a lot of people that have that luxury. And I think, go look at the people who talk about recruiting. They got a top 5 class right now. Number 4, number 3, depending on the service that you look at. And that's at Notre Dame, where he's got massive hurdles and massive obstacles to be able to bring any recruit in that he wants to. So you will have access to better players. The competition will be a little bit better. But I'm also a guy that thinks Notre Dame's schedule is a little bit more difficult than a lot of other people do every year. But, I mean, look at the coaches in the West, the teams in the West. It is an absolute gauntlet. And it's going to be fun to watch. I think he has a chance to have good success just based on his background and what he's done and how he's going to manage things. I'll be interested to see that staff, though.
Yeah.
Because I think the staff is one that, kind of some of the things that we talk about with Brian Harsin right now and kind of stuff we talked about when Coach Leach was hired. It seems to be working out for Coach Leach. I still think the trajectory is upward for Mississippi State. Obviously, Coach Harsin looked like it was really going up about midway through the season, and then things sort of leveled off. So the people you have around you are what can help you keep that success, heading in the right direction, and that'll be a big piece for Brian Kelly as well at LSU.
Cole, I got about a minute here. I'm going with Alabama to upset Georgia in the championship game. On a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy am I?
Probably 9.5, 9.75, somewhere in there. I'll be honest, Matt. I don't see the path. I really don't. There's a lot to like about Alabama. I don't feel like Alabama is a great team, and a lot of people will hear this and immediately get angry, and they won't try to take it for what I mean and the context involved in it. I think Alabama has a collection of very good, and it's not great players. I think Bryce Young's great. I think Jamison Williams is great. I think Will Anderson is the best defensive player in college football, but they just don't operate as a team nearly as well as some other groups in college football. Like, I don't think they play as well as a team as Oklahoma State does or Notre Dame is right now, and definitely not the way that Georgia does. So I think that they've got to find a way, and it's a little bit late, but they never have found a way to sort of move past, hey, we're just better than you at certain places, so let's just keep going there. I mean, perfect example, when Williams goes out of that game, what does Mechie have, 22 targets in that game? Mm-hmm. Like, if your team is that good, I don't really feel like you should have to live that way, but they can't run the ball. They don't have a lot of other guys creating separation, so all of a sudden that's what you become. And, I get calls into my show every day about how mad they are. I can't run it, can't push everything. I'm like, well, look at the personality of your team. You're a screen-based RPO team. That's what you are. And I think Georgia's going to be able to play very light in the box and still dominate that front. And I just don't see a path for Alabama to win this game.
Well, Cole, you can join a bunch of my friends and family. They've all got me on about 9 on the crazy scale as well. So I'm out here on an island by myself. But I really do appreciate your time during a busy time of year for you. It's good to talk to you, Cole. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good to catch up, Matt.
Yep. Talk to you soon. That's Cole Cubelic, ESPN, SEC Network, college football analyst. Follow him on Twitter if you don't already, @Cole Cubelic. Just getting started with you.